Report. I've done my collision review. Now I'm making a Gump report. I have a lot to talk about. I don't know how long this is going to go. It may go 10 minutes. It may go an hour. Nah, it won't be an hour. I ain't doing that. That's a lot of talking. But we have to talk about what happened on Tuesday, what happened on Friday. We have to talk about what's been going on with Tony Khan. We got to talk about what's going on with Vince McMahon, the probe on him. Well, not the probe, but pretty much the subpoena from the grand jury, and Triple H that seemingly has now taken control of creative, at least as far as Emmanuel has stated. Now, let's talk about what happened Tuesday and Friday. We already know what happened. Dynamite went up against NXT, and either Triple H or Vince, I believe it was Triple H, since what the reports have come out so far, which might be honestly true. Looks like it. We had the most star power they can throw on NXT to counteract AEW's birthday bash for Tony Khan. And the key of this entire situation, for me personally, was, before I get to this, I gotta say this. The Tuesday Night Wars was reported on the different websites. JD talked about it. Just Alex talked about it. I don't know about the Select Daddy. I don't know if he talked about it. I didn't check with him. Check on his channel to see if he talked about it. But I'm going to say this. Did I feed into that? No. To be honest, it shouldn't have been done. Tuesday Night War. That's what just Alex said it. And JD talked about it. And they both pretty much agreed. WWE pretty much whooped the floor with AEW. The ratings came in. They're way higher than they've ever been on 2.5 of... let's make it very clear. We're in 2.5 to near 3.0 of NXT. My guess is near 3.0 because if Vince is no longer in charge, which I'll talk about in a few minutes, it's 3.0. And now Triple H is not going to probably bother a HBK much. Other than, hey, I need this. Can you make it work? And that's what we get. But seeing that much star power on there was desperation. That's the truth on NXT. It was desperation. They weren't trying to build the current roster. They were trying to bring up their ratings. And they did. I think it was a 2.3. I think. I could be wrong. It was either 1.8 or 2.3. The numbers were very, very high. So they destroyed AEW. Even though I did my review on it. And I also did a review on NXT. They destroyed them. And everyone fed into this, well, we got the Tuesday Night Wars and AEW lost. Why are you feeding into that? For me personally, I don't want to. Who cares? We know WWE did that for ratings. They weren't doing that to make it a better show. And I don't think either one, just Alex or JD, talked about that. Now, I think, wait a minute. I know they referenced it, but they were still saying, well, WWE whooped their asses. And they talked about more about how WWE whooped their asses and Tony Khan had the meltdown than seeing for what it is. We got a good show on Tuesday for both companies. Was it wise? And I'm now moving on to a Tony Khan. What he did by throwing a hissy fit because he could not beat WWE on the same night. Was it right? No. Did he act inappropriate? Yes. Should he have just stayed quiet and not cared about the ratings? Yes. But unfortunately, Tony decided to do that. And that's that. And at this point, since everyone's still talking about the meltdown and how messed up it looked for AEW, we now got to talk about what we're going to be dealing with Adam Copeland, currently there, who is going to be one of the people who's going to be writing for the show. Let's make it clear. He's going to have his own, he's got creative control of his own character, which means he will be writing for his character. But I doubt that's going to be limited to just him, because I'm sure they're going to expand on that. They're going to let him help write other people's promos, other people's storylines. He will get involved in it. If Christian Cage hasn't been involved in it, it's going to be apparent that two of the most prominent wrestlers that was on WWE TV for a decade or two. They're going to let them give way more input than they normally do because they're going to see it's going to work. Because we know Adam Copeland can come up with some good stories. And with the possibility of Beth, coming to AEW eventually, there's a good chance she might. They're going to do whatever it's needed to keep him happy and whatever's going to help the company. Now, let's make this clear about what's going on with WWE. Now, I've been told more than a few times, Vince is no longer in charge of creative. It's pretty much Triple H. At first, it was rumor. And pretty much, the rumor was, and it was not confirmed, it was what the talent in the roster believed. Because they believe Triple H is more influential now and creating more content. He's the one who's doing the creative bits. And they just felt like it was him, saying that he has to be the one that's doing it. But it was no confirmation. Now, I did check one site. I don't remember, was it 411 Mania, I believe, had the article that pretty much during a Bloomberg interview, Emmanuel talked about some of the things that's going on, particularly what was going on with the stock. Because if Triple H is now currently in control of creative, it's not because they believe that he's better than Vince. It's because the stock dropped from 105, I believe, to 86 or 85, I believe. So that's the reason it generally happened. Look, when I told you about Vince McMahon and the subpoena, it hasn't ended. Vince, as far as I know, has not actually answered the subpoena yet. And if he has, it hasn't been generally reported. He has been subpoenaed by the grand jury to come in to do the inquiry on should he be in front of a grand jury for trial. Remember how how it works in the United States. When it comes to a grand jury, you're subpoenaed to come in, and they're going to bring in whatever evidence they have to the judge, and also the countered evidence. And they're going to look it over in the inquiry and see if any of that prompts a actual trial for the grand jury. And that has not happened yet. As far as I know, and from what I've seen, the grand jury has not been convened. There is no order for a grand jury yet. It's still a subpoena to come in for an inquiry to find out if he should. So something happened in the last couple of weeks that dropped the stock from $105 to $86 or $85. That is a massive drop of 15 to 20%? So with that drop, that would make some sense that if Emmanuel is feeling like if Vince is prone to go to do the trial, a possibility, and as I said this before, and I'll say it again, and I said this in my previous Gump report, it doesn't make a difference if Vince is staying there 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. It makes no difference if he goes to jail or if he stays there for a while. The person you should worry about is not Vince. It's the person they're going to replace him to take the executive chairman position. That's the person you got to worry about. I knew that either he's going to be taken off that position because of possibly the trial, if there was one, or if he gets sick, or something else happens that pretty much the board is going to get rid of him. And all that matters is who is going to be in that position. Because sooner or later, Emmanuel is not going to be 100% focused on that position of being in the chair. He's going to put that on executive chairman. That's the way it's going to be. Sooner or later, the executive chair position will be with somebody else. And he's going to let him do what's needed. He will not handhold him. But right now, because they know what's going on with Vince, they know because of the inquiry from the subpoena that sooner or later he's going to go in front of a grand jury, which this might be it. Maybe the grand jury inquiry is already going on now. That's the reason why the stock dropped. It's been indicated. And maybe that's the reason why Triple H has literally taken creative control right now. Now, if that's true, which it looks like it might be, because the show has been different. I'm not telling you the show looked like a Vince McMahon show. It doesn't. The booking is different. Some parts are good. Other parts kind of suck. And to be honest, for me personally, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Vince McMahon. I don't care if you're Stephanie McMahon. I don't care if you're Triple H. I don't care if you're Paul Heyman booking. I don't care if you're Bruce Pritchard booking. If you suck, I'm going to say something about it. And I don't care if everyone else loves it. I'm going to tell you an honest, fair opinion of it. And I'll give you the reasons why there's something wrong with the product, which I've done. So, if Triple H is running it, he's got certain things under control and other things he needs to work on. Because the show still doesn't look good. There's so many plot holes. It sucks. I'm just telling you, the shows for SmackDown was surprising on Friday. Let's make that clear. I did a review of it. Friday SmackDown was surprising with so much shock, but does not mean that's entertaining shock. That's shock to bring you in and watch. That's not shock to entertain you and make you come back. That's just shock to, hey, look at this. Come watch. Not, look at this. Ain't it cool? This is great. And we're going to continue this. That's what we got. So it's all shock value, short-term booking. They're trying to get you to come in in the hopes of luring you there. Now, will it work? I don't know. But as it stands now, if this is right, if the stock dropped because it got out that the inquiry is about to be finished or is starting on Vince and the stock dropped, it makes sense for them to take Vince off creative and put Paul Levesque there. But as I said, and I'm going to say it again, you cannot believe that it's going to be perfect. It counts on who is going to be the executive chairman of WWE's board of directors, because that's the person that's over Paul. And if Emmanuel is not keeping a hand on that person who's replacing Vince eventually, or Vince himself, if you still have that position, he'll mess with everything. Now, from what they said, he's got 100% control, and that's Paul Levesque. But if everything goes differently than what you think, what are you going to do? It's always going to be the person who's in charge over Triple H. That's Emmanuel. If Ari Emanuel is not keeping his hands on the executive chairman position, or at least watching the chief creative officer, in other words, Paul Levesque, you're going to get whatever you're going to get. For me personally, as I said it before, and I'll say it again, I'm waiting and seeing. I don't believe anything until we see it properly. Right now, it's all early days. No matter how much everyone is praising it, it's not perfect. And it's not that good. And if everyone says it is good, more power to you. But I'm not. I'm not going to go there. But this is just me. And I hope you enjoyed this Gump Report. Please give me a comment below. Tell me what you think. As far as I can tell, that was the information I was able to find. Now, if I'm missing something or if I'm wrong, just tell me below if I'm wrong about something. I know I don't get it all right. And I tried to find it across, 5 sites? And it was hard to find anything. And I believe it was 411 Mania that I saw the article, I think. Because I went across 5 sites and I looked over, 7 articles trying to read and trying to figure it out. And I'm hoping I got it right. But being dyslexic, you mess up. Peace.